In this video, I'm going to show you how to change the oil on a 2007 Chrysler Town and Country. It's a very easy process. First step, chalk your tires. And second step, jack the vehicle up, elevate it off the ground a little bit so you have some room to work. You're going to open up your hood so that you can access where your engine oil is going to go. And then next, we're going to get underneath the car. So here are some of the tools you're going to need. You are going to need a oil filter. This is going to be the Fram TG3614. I have some synthetic 5W20. You're going to need a 1/2 inch socket. This is for the oil drain plug. Oil wrench. I always end up needing that. It gets really tight through the wear and tear and the heat of everything. I always put it on hand tight, but I always end up needing this. And then just an oil pan and a funnel. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So when you're changing the oil, the concept's pretty simple. You are going to go underneath the vehicle. You're going to remove a bolt that is inside of the oil pan. This is called the oil drain plug. So it's 1/2 inch. So you're going to use your socket to remove that. The moment you remove it, all the oil, the used motor oil, is going to spill out. So you have your oil collector underneath so that it collects all the used motor oil. You let that drip until it's done, or pretty much done. There's always going to be a constant little drip. So you want to get most of it out. And then I always remove the oil filter at the same time as well. It's just a good habit. Probably overkill in some cases, but I don't care. It only costs $3 or $4. So now I'm going to go underneath the car with my oil pan. Notice I took the plug off of this. You do not want this part screwed in, otherwise you're going to overflow and make a giant mess. I've seen people do it. I got a glove because I don't really want to get it all over my hands. I'm not a professional, and I know you can push the plug in as you unscrew it and then remove it all gracefully. I've never had luck with that. I got my oil filter pliers and I got my 1/2 inch socket. So I'm going to start going underneath now. Okay, so the oil pan is right here. It is located directly behind the oil filter, and I am hardly underneath the car. There's my license plate right there, and I'm just going underneath the bumper, and you can immediately see it right here. So I'm gonna start with removing the plug. Again, is a 1/2 inch. Okay, so here you can see the oil pan. This is where the plug is. This is a 1/2 inch bolt. Hex head. So I'm going to go ahead and put my socket on right there. I'm going to remove that, and then it's going to start to waterfall out. I want to make sure that I'm collecting it in my container. And then once that's going, I'll also, when it slows down, I'll then take this off, and then some oil will come out and drip as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I just need to break this first. Okay, so I can now spin it with my hand. So I need to make sure that I position this so that when it comes out, it's gonna fall right into my container. So I'm gonna hand spin it, apply pressure, see if I can get it, and then remove it. Okay, still got some oil on me, but I'm glad I have the gloves. So I'll let that drain for a minute, and then I'm gonna clean up here while this is going. All right, I'm at a point where it is now a steady stream going straight down. So I moved my oil container so that it can collect from there and then also collect from my oil filter that I'm about to take off. So normally you should be able to just remove this with your hand, but I'm either one, not strong enough, or two, as I suspect this always tightens with heat and usage. So I'm gonna use my oil filter pliers, just wrap it around and then just pinch this sucker and twist. And it's okay if, as you pinch it and twist it, it pushes into the filter itself. Perfectly fine, because we're just going to get this thrown away anyways. There, so now it released. It's about a quarter turn too tight. But again, this is something I've never been able to do cleanly because it does that. So let it drop and drip into your container. So now I have dripping from the oil pan and the filter at the same time. I'm gonna go ahead and let that drip for a bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew this filter. So I'm gonna unscrew the filter now. You gotta be careful not to let this drop into your oil container because it will splash and make one heck of a mess. So I like to just set that facing down in my container. And then always make sure that there's no gasket that's still stuck right here. Okay, I have let this drip for long enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the plug back in. One time I let this go for like 3 hours and it was still dripping after that. So it'll burn off whatever's in there or drip it out. You can see that my stuff is messy. There's leaks. I think the gasket's kind of leaking up here, so I need to replace that. So I'm not worried. This thing goes through a lot of oil, but it runs great. Okay, I'm gonna prep my oil filter. This is what it looks like. This is the Tough Guard one that lasts a little bit longer. So not the base model, but one step up higher. Okay, I got my oil filter full of fresh oil. Gonna go ahead and put it on hand tight. Get it all wiped down because that was a little bit messy. See if I can get a final little crank on there. Then over to my drain plug. I'm gonna go ahead and get that tightened up, wiped down because it's a little bit messy too. Don't need to go Hulk mode, but just get it a good little crank. Okay, so that is nice and tight now. And everything's all cleaned up. So I have an empty system. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my new oil in at the top. In the engine compartment, on top of the engine, you will see a plug that says SAE 5W20. That's just a reminder of what type of engine oil, and it labels it as such as engine oil. So you go ahead and pinch this and twist it to the left. Again, anything that gets hot gets tight. So I'm gonna untwist counterclockwise. And this is what the inside looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and pop my funnel in there. Let me wipe this out real quick. Okay, this probably needs to take 2 hands, so let me figure out what to do with this camera. Okay, so as you saw, it takes all 5 quarts of the engine oil for this type of car. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on. Always do your safety checks and make sure that you don't have any leaking underneath. So I see no dripping. I'm gonna go ahead and start the car. That will pressurize the system, and if anything's gonna blow under pressure, I want it to happen in my driveway while I'm watching and waiting for it. So I always do that test as well. All right, no leaks at all after it was on and running for a minute. Just what I wanted. Now I'm going to clean up. I hope that video was helpful for you. Thank you for watching.